Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is the last of the Cymbidiums to repot. Before I start on that, I missed the Project Orchids video on Friday. I've explained all that, that's not what I want to say, but I did say that as we get to do the second video in the series of each plant, it warrants a playlist of its own. And I was just looking to see that I've set everything up okay, and the Paphiopedilum, which is plant number 4, the playlist only had one video in it, and we've gone past the point where that would have been filmed for its second one, plant number 4. That would have been, you know, like end of February, so end of April. So I've lost the video somewhere. I've got a feeling I might not have filmed it. I just forgot, but whatever. Anyway, there's that's the one that will have one missing when we get to the end of the year. Just thought I'd say that. I mean, we're on, it'll be plant number 7 this Friday, and then plant number 8 next Friday, and then we start again, back to plant number 1. Right, this is the last of the Cymbidiums. That weighs nothing, so it's light as a feather, which it shouldn't be. Although it's not actually growing its new growths yet. The blooms have gone over now. These are all gone, so there's no point in keeping them. And I want this outside, if you see what I mean. All the others are out, and this one's sort of lingering in here. So I want to get it out and get the fresh air around it and everything, and get it onto its sort of summer feeding programme. Several people have asked me what I do about feeding the Cymbidiums. Well, last year it was Cymbidium 1. We've managed to gain a few since then. But anything that was outside last year, I didn't have a hose working last year, so I used to have to water my bonsai with the watering can. And I used to put feed in there. That was just Miracle Grow, you know, like plant food for the garden and stuff. And whatever Cymbidiums were outside last year got that, and that's what they had. This year, because I've got so many, I will probably be mixing up orchid feed for them, if you know what I mean, and I'll do them as a separate run. Now this looks good because it looks like it's in a Cymbidium pot, but it's not. It's in a rubbish pot, but it is going in a Cymbidium pot. Right, let's see what we've got here then. I'm going to sacrifice this pot straight away on the grounds that, oh, look at these roots coming out the bottom. We like that. They will probably get broken because they're fragile when they're that size, but I'll see if I can unwrap this pot. There's no point trying to keep this pot, these are cheap rubbish. What a nursery would use when it knows it wasn't going to have the pot, the plant in the nursery very long. I mean, nurseries don't, well, it's different with Mathers where this came from. You know, they grow plants as part of a breeding program. But most nurseries, the plants are only there to sell. Yay! They didn't break. Whoa, jolly good. They probably will now. But there's quite a few new roots coming on here. So I'm not going to go too mad. This is in what looks like a combination of a sort of peaty material, some bark and perlite. So what I'm going to try and do is tease some of this out for reuse, because the peaty stuff, you know, these fundamentally are classed as terrestrials, or at least semi-terrestrials. Now they do like to be tight in their pot, it is said, but what I always say is that that's a bit of a, I think it's a bit of a misdemeanor. If these are terrestrials, then in the wild their roots would grow wherever they flipping wanted, because they wouldn't have a restriction of any kind, would they? So they'd spread out all over the place, if that's what they wanted to do, because there wouldn't be a restriction of a, you know, they wouldn't come up against a pot, would they? So they don't hold too much of that. But this is certainly a good root ball anyway. And I'm sort of thinking, why am I disturbing it this much? Well, now we're getting more into the middle of the pot. This is the bit I want to get to, so I'm going to actually do a bit of brutal. I want to get to the middle of the pot to see if we've actually got old rotten roots. Because leaving them in there for a second repot wouldn't be the best of ideas. You know, they're already dead, they're serving no purpose, and they will of course start the new media breaking down quicker. Right, am I in the middle yet? It depends how it was repotted. You know, if it was repotted by teasing out the old media and then repotted, then there wouldn't, in theory, be loads of dead roots in the middle, would there? But if it was potted on, then the old roots may well have just died off. But I don't think we have a problem with dead roots in the middle here. So that will probably do. I was just after enough of this peaty material to mix in with my bark so that I've got a similar material to pot it up in so that it's not a major change. Strange there's no sign of a new growth yet, but it could be one of those that's inhibited by the blooms. But there is no sign of a new growth yet. Well, let's get it outside then, get a brighter light on it and see if we can push it on. Spike, come off, untidy, another one there, these are old spikes, and the one I've just taken off that's still green inside. So this is good to see. This bulb here had 2 spikes, so this is capable of producing 2 spikes per bulb. But to do that, the latest bulb, not as big as that one, only produced 1. So whenever we do get a new growth on this, if we can push it hard enough and get it into a really nice big bulb, we may get 2 spikes. We may get 2 spikes. But as it's had a repot and a disturbance, not that it's too big a disturbance, we'll see how it goes. Now, is that going to go in that pot? Well, those 2 big long roots can come off. They're getting away. Right, so if we get the dead stuff out of here, I'll just mix in some bark and some more perlite with this media, and that will do. Some quite nice peaty bits in there. Get the old stuff out of the way. So we'll mix up some stuff with that, and this should go in this pot nicely actually. And all those tight roots that were squashed into the bottom of the pot will sit on media now and be able to grow into it. Oh, I've just noticed some papery roots. That one there that one's dead. Well, I'm not going through every single root checking to see if it's okay. That one just happened to, I touched it and it was obviously dead. Most of these are okay. That one's not. But I'll be here all flipping day if I try and go through every root. It's just not worth it. And there are roots here with some nice new shoots on, so it should get going with generating a new root system quite quickly. It's a branching root system, obviously. So older roots can shoot out. You know, we've got new growth here, all down through here, up through here. Yeah, so older roots are shooting out in places. So there we go. Right, I'll just break off for a minute while I go and get the rest of the media to mix up a good pot full, and we'll go from there. Right, I'll be back. Okay, right, so we've got some of what came out of there. I've added in a lot of small bark and a little bit of medium bark and quite a bit of perlite. So that's my mix basically, preferably without dead roots in it, but the odd one won't hurt. Now, as I said, this business of they like to be tight in their pot, well, if they are terrestrial based, I'll call it, and they grow in the ground, then their roots will be unrestricted and that will be how they grow. So I think it still goes back to this, you know, if they're tight in the pot and a mass of roots, it's not possible to overwater them, is it? Because you just couldn't get enough water in there. So I'm just picking on some that's got big bits. I've got some in the bottom. Right. I'd like this to be in the pot. Just tucking all the roots in. I can see that I don't catch on the edge of the pot. Right, so now logically the new growths are going to come out this side. This is the one that's just bloomed, so that was the latest growth. So logically the new roots, new growth should come out this side of the plant. But with Cymbidiums there's no real guarantee. Because sometimes an old bulb will just decide to produce a new growth. It doesn't happen very often, but you know it does happen where the new growth doesn't just come from where the last one was. What I do to compensate for the larger pot, this business of them liking to be tight in a pot, and their roots, you know, really sort of crammed into a space. Well, I like the bigger pot idea, but I do pack the media in tight, so their roots are still packed. They still have to force their way around the media to find their way around the pot, because I pot hard. You can see I've pushed that down really hard. One more into gaps. Probably got them all now. Yeah, it hasn't sunk down much at all. So there we go. That's the last of the big Cymbidiums. Well, it's the last of the Cymbidiums, full stop. I've got one mini. I'm keeping my eye out. I don't see as I will come across any again. The chances of coming across another mini Cymbidium could be solely based on coming across the Rivlington School on an outing where they're doing some sales, because that's where it came from. Because the RHS were actually at the Bournemouth show doing RHS judging and symposium basically, which is the judges training scheme. Rivlington were there as well, but that would be like a one-off. That's probably not going to happen again. So coming across Rivlington where they're selling stuff is not going to be easy, but I'm still hoping that they're going to have, that this open day they have planned for the summer is going to take off. It's basically based on the reciprocal conservation project that's going on in Africa. The students that are part of that project have been invited over to the UK to stay and Ridlington are hoping to host an open day while those students are here. So those students get to meet stupid orchid loonies like me. They won't come again, will they? Right, so there we go, that's that one done. We've got a tag for it, so we just will use it. Jamie Red, that one. And although that came from Mather's, it's not one of their plants. It's in the Cymbidium house. A third of it, maybe half of it, is actually plants from another company. They're just in the same grow space, basically. But when Mather's have an open day, that company is quite happy for them to sell them. It saves them selling them. They get the sale, you know, at the end of the day. So that's where I got it from. So it's not actually a Mather's Cymbidium. It's one from the other company. So Jim denies all knowledge. Nope, nothing to do with me. Anyway, we'll give that a good soak now and get it outside with the others. There's just about enough room on that shelf to get one more Cymbidium on. It's up off the ground and it's a rack, you know, like one of these, so it gets air around the pots and the breeze around the leaves. But it's in it holds the pots in such a way that I'm hoping when we have a gale that it doesn't blow the pots off the shelf, because they're like in the shelf, not on the top. So hopefully they won't all blow over and chuck the media all over the floor. Anyway, that's that one done, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.